are listening to
Thoroughly Kinky.
Thoroughly Kinky.
Thoroughly Kinky.
Thoroughly Kinky.
Thoroughly Kinky.
With your hosts, Liam and Adam.
Blazing on a sunny afternoon.
So, thoroughly kinky listeners, welcome back. I am Liam Porter. I'm the newbie to the Kinks. I'm sitting here with my good friend and Kinks expert, Adam Smith. Hello, Adam.
Hello.
What is this podcast going to be all about?
We're going to call it bonus tracks from the 2018 edition of Village Green Preservation Society. The songs that we haven't covered before that are bonus tracks on it, which is quite a few, but 13 of them, I believe, on this. Ray was taking his time with Village Green Preservation Society and setting aside songs to maybe go on that. And for years, these tracks were not officially available, and then they've eventually dribbled out on various reissues in the digital era.
For the longest time, these tracks were sort of lost and only in the hands of collectors.
Yeah, totally. It was like the equivalent of if you're a Beatles fan and you found out there was another album in between Magical Mystery Tour and the White Album, and you'd just never known about it. As an overall, what did you think of these songs? Did you think they were up to snuff?
Yeah, I think a few of them are as good as the average track on Village Green Preservation Society.
I totally agree.
So I would swap a couple out, definitely.
Okay, cool. So should we get on with these tracks then?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So if you want to listen to these tracks, you have to go into the Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society 2018 Deluxe release, and it's got about 1 million tracks, and we're going to tell you which ones to listen to. What's the first bonus track in this massive list of tracks?
The first track we'll be discussing would be the A-side Days, which was the single just before Village Green Preservation Society.
Let's have a listen to Days.
I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me. Days I remember all my life, days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me.
So that was Days, and this just sounds like one of those songs that's always existed, almost like Happy Birthday, or for He's a Jolly Good Fellow, and fit in those occasions too. It's a very timeless song.
Yeah, did you know this one beforehand?
I did, yeah. This was on the greatest hits of the Kinks. I might have listened to a few times, so definitely one that I've heard there on the radio.
I mean, I think the purity of this song is just that, like you say, it's like such a song that you feel always would exist. It does seem more intrinsically timeless than even a lot of the other stuff. You know, there's something, I was almost welling up hearing it there, and I've heard it millions of times before. It's, you know, it's just about thanking someone for being part of your life and taking a step back about what that means. You know, sorry,
Don't cry, Adam.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I know how you feel, because it is a very touching song.
Yeah.
Very just straight ahead positive, but as always with Ray Davies, there's these slightly chilling lines in there.
Yeah.
Days when you can't see wrong from right. I knew that very soon you'd leave me. I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. So is this a sort of a post-breakup song?
It's such a pure universal statement, and it can be, you know, it could be about a love affair, it could be just about friendship, it could just be just taking a step back and knowing you've existed, you know? I mean, like, you were saying there's got slightly darker overtones to it. I mean, that bridge, I wish today could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
The night is dark, it just brings sorrow. It's just, it's getting you in the dark hour of the soul kind of thing.
I wish today could be tomorrow. The night is dark, it just brings sorrow, let it wait. Thank you for the land, those endless days, those sacred days you get.
I like the bit where he's singing, like coming out of a daze or concussion.
Yeah, it's I always like that bit. It's got that sort of woozy descending feel that a lot of the sort of lazy sound of the Kinks does this time. I think this song has sort of crept up to be an anthem because they brought it as a single. It was a medium-sized hit, and then it kind of got forgotten about. They didn't play it live for ages, and then in the late 80s, Kirsty MacColl did a cover.
I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me.
And that kind of revived it. The Kinks brought it back into their live sets, and then Ray's played it ever since. It might be the most universal and wisest sort of song, and he wrote this when he was like 24 or 3 or something. It's ridiculous. Can't imagine having that amount of innate wisdom at that age. It's, can't imagine writing anything that thoughtful at that age,
It's a beautiful song. It's an absolute timeless diamond. What is coming now to follow that?
The B-side of that, which is She's Got Everything, which is a total contrast.
And I can't live without her love, and I can't live without her kiss. She is my forever love. She got everything. 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 Got a girl who's oh so good. She got everything. I got a girl who's oh so fly. She got everything.
So that was She's Got Everything. And as you said, it's a huge contrast from Days, and I'm surprised that it was paired with it as a B-side. It's like everything that Days is not. Two complete polar opposite sides of the Kinks in one single release.
Probably intentional. I suspect it was to, it's obviously a kind of throwback to the early sound. It's from early 66, actually, this technical note.
Okay, so they're going back a bit and releasing something they had a long time.
Like I said, he was stockpiling stuff by this point. I think they added the vocals in 68, but the basic backing track is 66. I think it's a lot like the riff rockers they had done up to that point, but it's a little bit more polished. I don't know, would you say? I don't know.
Yeah, the sort of ba-ba-ba-da and all that. It sounds a lot more commercial.
Yeah, and it's got nice keyboards by Nicky Hopkins on it, and
yeah, they're really sparkly. I like how they come in the mix there.
So, I mean, there's not much to say about it lyrically of anything like that, but it's just a really good dance track for the time, and I think it's putting on the B-side of Days was an intentional contrast. It's almost like this hugely poignant song on the A-side, and then this throwback to the old sound as a compliment, as a contrasting compliment to the B-side.
These last few albums, they've definitely been pushing the boat out each time, bringing in new sounds each time. Perhaps that's them then reflecting on how far they've come.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Okay, so after that, what's the next track?
Mr. Songbird.
So, Mr. Songbird, I really liked that. It was so charming and whimsical, totally convinced me.
It's not my favourite of this kind of stuff, because I think it's maybe a bit on the slightly lightweight side, I don't know, of this sort of stuff.
I mean, the acid test is, would you dream of replacing one of the original tracks on the Village Green Preservation Society with this one? And my answer to that would be no. Yeah,
it's nice. I mean, it's got one little line at the end which says, you help to keep the devil away, which gives a little bit of a thingy to it. But other than that, the lyrics may be a bit too
saccharine.
Yeah. And also it sounds a bit like the Simon and Garfunkel song, Feeling Groovy, doesn't it?
Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy.
think he should have farmed this out to someone else. I think someone else could have had a big hit with it, don't you think?
Yeah, right. It doesn't seem to be their style, their voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's coming next, Adam?
Berkeley Mews. This was a B-side. This was actually, we're getting ahead of ourselves. This was the B-side to Lola.
Adam, why do I love this song so much?
Oh, because it's amazing.
Simple as that. They're a very original band, must be said.
Yeah, I was amazed when I first heard this song. I still am. It's such a strange song. It starts off this sort of like almost crooner type thing, and then it hits the really dramatic staccato guitar.
Yeah, definitely. The verse is this kind of croony thing. And leaves the brown came falling through to you. And then when the chorus comes in, it's... So it's a real crazy Frankenstein's monster of a song, a bit like Autumn Almanac comes to mind.
Yeah, but it works. And then as well at the end, you've got the kind of Elvis bit, which comes out of nowhere, you know. Don't you know that you left me? Kind of
mixing up eras and sort of making a more non-time specific sound.
Yeah, the dynamics of it musically are so weird and so not what you'd expect. It still surprises and amazes me, this song. Lyrically, it seems to be about an affair or something that, you know, he's felt sort of used or something, I think, or, you know.
Yeah, what's this? Kitchen sink was cluttered up. I brewed another cup. Tried to sneak out early in the morning.
It's the morning after kind of song, and it's brilliant because it's such a dismal subject matter for a song. He kind of wrings all the emotion out of it in a really interesting way without it being campy. He sells it to you.
He's always on that edge of nostalgia or the saccharine, but never goes fully overboard.
I don't have the superlatives to this song. I mean, it's a minor piece in the discography, but it's an amazing minor piece. Yeah.
Well, let's have a listen to the next track on our list. And which one is that, Adam?
Rosemary Rose.
Rosemary Rose has eyes of blue, and someone is treasuring a picture of you, taken on holiday when you were just 3. My sweet Rosemary, you look nothing like a child, yet you're such a little baby, chewing on your licorice gum and cigarettes. Rosemary Rose, carefully sewing on your buttons and bows, hoping that someone will be wanting to know of Rosemary Rose.
It's another one which I really like, and I find it hard to say why I like it so much, just that it's so original and out of left field and creates an atmosphere.
Yeah.
It does all the things that the best tracks on Village Green Preservation Society do.
Yeah, this one's like so pungently evocative. Obviously it's called Rosemary Rose. I always imagine it sounds like some pink tinted world, nostalgic. You know, the one big thing it really sounds like musically does sound very Doorsy. And
yeah, I get that. Yeah, sort of whiskey bar.
I like the Doors with reservations. I'm not into the bluesy stuff where he's just moaning a lot, but see all the like amazing little harpsichord drenched little pop songs they wrote. Like this sounds like an English version of that kind of thing.
He lives on Love Street, lingers long on Love Street. She has a house and garden. Rosemary Rose, carefully sewing on your buttons and bows, hoping that someone will be wanting to know of Rosemary Rose.
be honest, most of the heavy lifting's been done by the harpsichords, isn't it, though?
Is that Nicky Hopkins again?
I think it will be, yeah. And there's a lot of work he's doing on that. And I should say he stopped working with the Kinks after Village Green, and that's because he didn't get credited properly on that album.
Oh, well, he has a case, if you ask me.
Yeah, if he was doing this amount of work on some of the songs and then didn't get credit.
So let's move swiftly on to the next track. What is it, Adam?
Next one I think is Misty Water.
Though Maria is not lovely, she's a lady of my dreams. 'Cause I see my lady through a misty silky stream. And seeing is believing, but I can't believe my eyes. Everything is lovely in a misty paradise. I like misty water, I like fog and haze, and Maria and her daughters, they like misty water, they like misty water.
This one reminds me of a classic Beach Boys song just called Cool, Cool Water.
Oh, yeah.
It's a song all about drinking water and how it's very healthy for you. Yeah, it kind of gives me memories of a different song, a better song.
Take a sip of misty water.
Didn't love the song that much. What do you think of it, Adam?
Maybe it's not the strongest song, but I think this would go on Village Green really well because it's the lyrics about going to get pissed or have some drinks anyway with this woman and her daughters.
Is that what Misty Water is?
Yeah, if you listen to it, it's spirits. Yeah, I think.
I was really wondering what it was.
That's the prosaicness of it, but obviously it's magical once you have a few and then not so magical after many more. But if you're talking about Village Green Preservation Society as a map of somewhere, that would be another place.
The watering hole.
The watering hole.
Speakeasy.
Yeah, Speakeasy Watering Hole is a place that would fit in really well in Village Green, and for that reason I think it should have gone on there.
I don't know how to say it really. Didn't love this one that much.
Okay. The next one's called Did You See His Name?
Did you see his name in the local paper? Stole a tin of beans from a cut-price grocery store. The judge said he must pay, so he put him on probation. The paper gave his name. Did you see his name in the criminal section? And the center page gave his name and his address. Stop him doing it again. Put him to dishonor. Put the man to shame.
Wow, another lost classic. Really love this one. Great vocal range on the side of Davies, and
Yeah.
I really like the melody to it.
There's an interesting story behind this one, actually. A few of the tracks in this pile of songs. This comes from a period where Ray was getting commissions to write original songs for TV and film.
Oh.
The story with this one, and this was the first time that happened, is there was a BBC Two satirical comedy show called At the 11th Hour, which was a sort of, maybe not quite Have I Got News for You or something, but it was like there would be comedy sketches.
A satirical summary of the week's news.
Yes, and he had to write a satirical song for it each week. In the programme, it was a jazz singer called Jeannie Lamb who sang them. But the Kinks went back and recorded this one. He said he felt bad about it because apparently it was inspired by, a similar story about someone who'd committed a crime and committed suicide, I believe. So he felt a bit bad he got a song out of it.
Yeah, so it's a moral quandary.
I think it shows how on fire he was at the time, that this is an incredibly minor piece. This is a song written about a news event that's only been shown on TV once. And he writes that it's really minor classic out of it. It's, I love the timing in it.
It's a bit offbeat, isn't it?
Yeah, the bridge is really good because it has these stops and starts. And then I love the way lyrically and musically it resolves and turns round into, and incidentally, did you see his name in the obituary column? It's so darkly humorous.
He left his little shop to the flowers and soft rain. His world just crumbled down. Incidentally, did you see his name in the
it's really rich and gorgeous. I really love that bit.
If nothing else, this song particularly just shows that Ray just couldn't write a bad song during this period.
Minor classic there. What's the next track?
Till Death Us Do Part.
If I were king, I'd tell my army to change the world, and I'd be someone like you want me to be. If I let my mind, I know that the world must keep on turning, even though it leaves me far behind. Life is like a school, but I'm not prepared to keep on learning, even though it treats me like a fool.
Till Death Do Us Part. This one, a bit like Rosemary Rose, Berkeley Mews, it pushes a nostalgia button for me.
Yeah.
Pretty and elegant, and seems to come from some timeless period in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's very old-timey. A lot of bands in the late 60s did that sort of thing. Quite often they used it for their comedy song, and it didn't have any real emotional heft to it. I don't really think the Kinks did that very often. I think even the songs that sounded like they'd been beamed in from 1925, they meant it. This is also a song from extracurricular film and TV activities. This was written as a theme tune to the film version of Till Death Us Do Part. You know the sitcom, the 60s sitcom?
Oh, is that the one with Alf Garnett in it?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Warren Mitchell as Alf Garnett, the proud father.
You love your daddy, don't you? Eh? Oh, shut up! I'm as religious as anybody else is. I've been to church.
Twice. Look, Mike's mum goes every Sunday.
Look, I said I was religious. Didn't say I was a bloody religious maniac.
There was a film version of it, and Ray wrote this as a theme tune to it. It was basically about Warren Mitchell playing Alf Garnett, who was a bigoted little Englander, and he lived with his wife, who he was quite,
Contemptuous of.
Contemptuous is the right word of, and also his daughter and and her boyfriend, Alf Garnett, said all these kind of right-wing kind of things, and he was usually shown his comeuppance within the shows, but a lot of the viewers probably agreed with what Alf was saying, kind of thing. You know, he was a kind of reactionary old time.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's an American version too, which isn't equal.
He's called Archie Bunker as the character, and he's played by Carol O'Connell.
Archie Bunker, that's the one, who I think also was embraced by Americans rather than seen as a figure of fun.
The song's not much to do with that. The song's seems to more to be about taking the wedding vow sort of thing, Till Death Us Do Part, and ruminating on that in quite a sort of existential kind of way that's quite moving. Again, a bit like Days. It's like, even though it's maybe sounds a bit sillier because this sort of old timey sort of meandering sort of rhythm to it, and the banjo comes in and stuff like that. People might say, "Oh, this is a silly song," but I think the lyric is very heartfelt and very quite poignant. You know.
This is our life, to live together, not live apart. Let's stay together until death us do part.
Ray Davies claims that Warren Mitchell, who played Alf Garnett, said that this song was too good for the film. And having seen the film in question, I would agree, absolutely.
Okay, well, maybe it was saved then by obscurity, because it really is a real gem.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next track we're looking at?
Lavender Hill.
I wanna walk ya Lavender Hill. Everybody loves Lavender Hill. Even the bird that sits in the tree seems to sing sweet melodies. Even the breeze is whispering Lavender Hill for me.
So, Lavender Hill. Could this be their Strawberry Field?
Yeah. I was going to say this is like so Strawberry Fields-esque, isn't it? I don't know if I've been to Lavender Hill, but if you look at pictures, it doesn't look very. It looks like just like a street in London. But it's taken this everyday place and turned into this mystical storybook Never Never Land. It's quite powerful and weird sounding, you know.
Yeah, it's really nice when like a real place in the world has all this association attached to it, and it kind of shows how anything could spark an imaginative thought, creative idea.
Yeah, but yeah, this is an amazing production. They really chuck a lot of stuff at this. It's got wah-wah guitar in it, which they don't use very often. There's mellotron in there. There's ghostly backing vocals that sound reversed to me, at least the ones in the first verse do.
I want to walk eternally into the land of make-believe and watch the clouds roll over me.
Should also say, I barely mentioned him considering he's a member of the band. We've talked more about Nicky Hopkins and Raza, but I think Mick Avery's drumming is really good on this. He's quite a sort of jazzy, laid-back drummer, you know. It really helps with the atmosphere of this song, just the sort of lazy sounding, but sort of like atmospheric sort of sounding drums and that.
Lavender Hill for me.
Yeah, Mick Avery's drumming, absolutely classic on this track.
Absolutely amazing. I don't know, it's just an amazingly strong track in production. And it's bonkers to think it was not released at the time.
Yeah, it's a real shame, because it really evokes a sense of place, just like the best tracks on the album do.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Lavender Hill. Where are we going next?
Pictures in the Sand.
I waste my time away drawing pictures in the sand, writing messages to you. If I didn't have a gun, would you still be loving me? I like to spend my whole life through drawing pictures just for you. But I can never draw my love, it's so very hard to do.
I say it's another low-key classic.
You couldn't write a bad song during this time if you'd been trying. There's so many different musical ideas in it, and it's got the sort of lazy sort of feel, and it's obviously this is a sort of a seaside sort of theme to it. I was going to say it's probably got a lot of remembering seaside holidays as a family sort of thing in it going on it.
Yeah.
Because Ray suppressed the release of a lot of these songs for ages. It is known that this is one of the songs he wanted to stop the release of the longest, because apparently he wrote it for his 3-year-old daughter, and he thought it was too personal. It was never meant to be released as a Kinks song. It was too personal to come out.
Well, I guess by delaying it, he at least made sure that it was their special song for some length of time.
Which is really nice, really. I mean, I used to be one of the fans that were like, why won't you release this song? You know, when you find that out, and when you have children yourself, you're like, ugh. You know, maybe I can understand that, but I mean, I'm glad it is available because it is an amazing song. I mean, it's musical invention here, just spilling out again and again, all these different bits. You know,
right,
it's like
the entry point, as it were, is very different to the end point.
I think listening to all these tracks after VGPS Village Green just shows you just like how unbelievably on fire he was during this period. It's literally an embarrassment of riches.
So what's next on our hit list?
The next one is not an embarrassment of riches. This is Easy Come, There You Went.
It's an instrumental track. We haven't had one of them for a long time.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say that much about this one. I don't think it's known if this was just intended as an instrumental or if it's just a backing track that the vocals weren't added to or we've lost. Yeah.
Easy come, there you went. Easy come, there you went.
It's easy to imagine that's what the chorus was or the refrain was going over that. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like that what would you call it? What the piano's doing there? Yeah.
Vamping? Is it vamping?
Yeah. It's good to hear the band just in action.
Okay, so that was Easy Come, There You Went. Remaining, we only have 2 more tracks. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, and I should say they're both from the same TV show. This is another TV show that Ray wrote songs for, and the Kinks recorded this time. It was a TV show called Where Was Spring, which starred Eleanor Braun, who was in the Beatles film Help, and John Fortune, who was a comedian at the time. And in it, it's all missing. It's all the BBC junked it, so no one really knows that much about what went into it. It was them, I think, mainly playing couples, like they were playing couples in different stages of relationships and the problems that came out. I think it was a kind of
a bit like Coupling with Sarah Alexander in the year 2000.
I think it was a bit more highbrow than that. I get the impression it was a bit more of a sort of classy upper middle class kind of thing than Coupling. Yeah.
Oh right, okay, not as outrageous as Coupling was.
Well, I think it was probably outrageous for its day because they talked about sex and stuff like that, which was quite new to TV at the time. But yeah, but it was a bit more kind of rather than, do you know what I mean? Probably, I don't know.
Right, gotcha. So let's have a listen to it. Where Did My Spring Go?
Where did the spring go? Where did the trees go? Where did the sun go? Where did the bluebirds fly? Why did the rainbow turn into shadows? Why am I cold now? Why does my skin sag? Why ain't my back straight? Why do my feet ache? Where did my youth go? Where did my life go?
Out of all the TV show related songs we've heard, this sounds like the least commercial.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it really working.
In a TV show or as a single?
I mean, I couldn't really imagine it working as a TV show theme.
I mean, did you like the song at all otherwise? Or just?
I'm not a big fan of this one, personally.
Oh, right, we're definitely different. I love this one. I mean, this was, even though it's got a similar title to the name of the TV show, Where Was Spring, Where Did My Spring Go? It wasn't a theme song. This was played as a bit in the middle of the show. And it was accompanied by an animation animated by Klaus Verman, who did the Revolver cover for the Beatles.
Oh.
Klaus Verman kept some of his drawings from it. And if you see the drawings that accompanied this song, it's all like people's faces melting with age and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was wondering if it would be a bit of a grower, because I find it more baffling than anything. I can't really find a way in for it.
I love this one. It doesn't really sound much like the other stuff from this time, but it's about the relentless entropy of life and going towards aging and death. And I find the drive of the song, the way it just plunges ahead, and it's like people wasting away,
But it does feel like there's a lot of context missing for the song. It just sounds weird without any context. Like, okay, where did my teeth go? Where did my muscles go?
Yeah.
Where did my shoulders go? Where did my chest go? And this just seems like some kind of crazy bad trip out of context.
Well, yeah, it seems quite strong stuff considering it was in the context of all these sort of sketches about couples and married couples and stuff like that. It seems really...
Yes.
It seems to take it a bit further. It seems like...
Probably out of context even in context.
Yeah, and if you see the video for it, it's just stills, but quite strong stuff. It's like it's grotesque, and I think the song sounds grotesque in quite a can't look away from a horror movie kind of way, even though these songs are supposed to be about sex and love, it's barely about that. I think he wanted to write a song about getting older and rotting away, and he just had to, put in one line to sort of...
It's like he's heard the name of the show and he's agreed to be part of it, but he's got an urge to take it in a completely different direction than it was intended.
Yeah. Yeah, but I really like this one. I think it's quite... I don't think it's easy listening. I think it's like, you put this on, you're like, oof, it's an experience,
It's a bit unnerving, and that's perhaps why it didn't really click with me yet.
Yeah.
It's got some quite trenchant lines here,
Yeah.
I remember walking in the rain, getting soaking wet. Now I've got rheumatic pains, and I really do regret it.
Weirdly, he never revived this one when he was older. I would love to have seen like a 70-something Ray Davies sing this on stage. I think this would work better than most because it's like now you've reached that stage where you've got all those complaints.
Remember walking in the rain and getting soaking wet. Now I've got rheumatic pains and I really do regret it. Where did my teeth go? Where did my hair go? Where did my shoulders go? Where did my chest go? Where did my hormones go? Where did my go go? Where did my energy go? Where did my...
We've made it to the final track of this episode. It's the final track we're going to be looking at, final bonus track on the deluxe edition. What is it, Adam?
It's called When I Turn Off the Living Room Light.
Who cares if you're Jewish and your breath smells of garlic and your nose is a shiny red light? To me you are gorgeous and everything's right when I turn off the living room light. Your clothes are old-fashioned, your knuckles are bony, your hair looks a terrible sight. But I don't have to see you the way that you are when I turn off the living room light. When I turn off the living room light. I don't have to see you the way that you are when I turn off the living room light. Well, it's not...
So, what do you make of that one, Adam?
Well, I like it a lot, but a lot of people hate this song, and you can tell why. Mainly because of the lyrical content, for a couple of reasons.
The very first line hits you like a punch in the face. Who cares if you're Jewish and your breath smells of garlic?
Yeah, two reasons why people don't like this one. The one is some people won't get on board with a song that's written just saying someone's ugly, or listing sort of defects as like an idea for a love song is like not very appealing. And then the other one is opening with who cares if you're Jewish as one of those bad defects. This song, it's been debated back and forth wherever the Kinks are debated. Is this beyond the pale to say that?
It has an unusual number of plays on Spotify, 250,000.
Right.
So I wonder if the controversy has made it a more popular, obscure track.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people try and defend it by saying, well, we don't know the context, this was written for a TV show. I guess the thing is, people are saying, well, is Ray writing in character, or does this reflect his actual beliefs? That's something to say as a bad thing, basically. But since the TV show doesn't exist anymore, that is hard to say for sure,
Might have been referring to the main character, who is a lonely Jewish person looking for love who smells like garlic.
Maybe. I mean, the fact Eleanor Braun is Jewish, so that might have been, the implied thing. And maybe in that, I don't know if that makes it better or worse,
But it might have been the brief of the song, you describe the main character.
Maybe.
Is it a real controversy?
It's a controversy whenever it's known of, and it's obviously quite an obscure song, so it's like, this wasn't like a single. If this had been a number one single, it'd be like Short People by Randy Newman.
Yeah.
It's essentially an off-colour comedy song that he wrote for a TV show, shoved in a drawer and hoped no one would discover. And then it's been reissued in various reissues, and then it's become a thing.
It's not an overriding theme in their work as a whole.
No, not really. I mean, there's a couple of, if we get further into the 70s discography, there's a couple of other things that we'll discuss when we come to them that people have issues with, but might have worked better in the context of the song, in the context of the TV show. I got to say, I love the sort of spiraling, unfolding melody of this one, and the sort of bathos of the bridge, which is kind of a bit more soulful. I think that works really well.
I really dig the jazzy chords here. You got a lot of them, sort of. I do like the sort of windy way the melody goes, and the contrast there between the verse and the bridge.
Yeah, another great little minor song, which has a great melody.
Yeah.
The whole fact, I think a lot of people just generally don't like the sort of thing because it's quite, I'm going to come out and say you've got all these physical defects, but so do I. That's maybe a bit strong for some people to take on. It's just, it's a bit too...
A bit mean.
Yeah, too mean for some people to go with, which is fair enough.
We don't feel as ugly as we really are when we turn off the living room light.
The offensiveness to a significant number of listeners is not up for debate. What I will say is, if it's possible to find the TV show Where Was Spring, we could have a more informed discussion about it in context and how artistically justified, if at all, it was. And we'll leave it there.
So a bit of a funny one to end on. But overall, a fantastic collection of songs, especially given the fact that none of them were released at the time.
Apart from the Days single,
right?
Yeah, and the Berkeley Mews B-side, which came out a bit later. None of these came out, it's crazy. These are like fully formed. These aren't like Do you know what? I often think the Beatles give outtakes a bad name. The Beatles were very efficient. If you listen, the Beatles actually didn't have many songs that they didn't hone to perfection and put out.
Yeah.
So when people listen to the Beatles outtakes and the anthology and that, I think people found a little bit wanting. They were like, well, there's not that many great unknown songs here because the Beatles were just efficient and they just used all the good stuff. Whereas I think other bands, Beach Boys, Kinks, Who, they had loads of really good song outtakes that didn't get used.
The Beatles were a more efficient machine, able to release singles at a very constant rate, whereas others, they might have written a song at the wrong time and then it slips between the cracks.
Totally. And it's probably because the Beatles were more of a sort of democracy and they sort of iron things out, whereas all those other bands, there was more sort of like one eccentric guy.
Yeah, right. Pete Townsend and The Who, or Ray Davies and the Kinks.
Yeah. Brian Wilson, and if they didn't like a song, it didn't get used for whatever whimsical reason they had, you know.
I mean, you said that the Beatles were democracy, so I guess you're calling the Kinks a dictatorship.
The Kinks were not a democracy, no way. Least of all those bands, probably, you know.
And that was too much for Nicky Hopkins.
Yeah, well, as I said, he left after Village Green because he was not happy with not getting credit. I also suspect he was getting bigger offers by this point because he played on the Beatles' Revolution single, B-side rather, and he was playing with the Stones by this point, so probably he was moving on to bigger worlds by then, you know, anyway. It's kind of, we can go into this more in Arthur, but it's kind of a change of the guard around this point because soon after this album, Pete Quaife leaves because he's kind of fed up of not having enough input.
Right, you mentioned it last time, yeah.
Around the same time, she's on a few tracks on Arthur, but Raza kind of gets faded out by this point.
Oh.
The Kinks in the studio, not live, were a 6-piece kind of outfit. You've got Ray, Dave, Pete, Mick, Nicky on keyboards, and Raza on backing vocals. You're getting 3 of those people line up kind of leaving during that shortly after this period. So the sound start changing a lot immediately after this time.
This is a bit of a calm before the storm, a high point of musical creativity and fertility, and soon a lot of challenges are going to face Ray Davies and the band.
This is kind of, you're right, this is kind of even though they weren't doing very well in the charts at this point, but there's a kind of period of making all these miniature masterpieces in the studio and seemingly doing it effortlessly. And then there's a lot of change. He's still writing amazing songs at this point, but it changes. It's not the same kind of, there's not the same kind of atmosphere where they're just effortlessly making these beautiful little pop songs.
It's been a real great chain of masterpieces, so I'm interested in hearing Arthur and seeing if it can live up to that standard.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay, so that's it from us today. I've been Liam Porter, and your Kinks expert has been
Adam Smith.
So until next time, listeners, stay kinky.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Thoroughly Kinky.
If you'd like to send us an email, we'd love to hear from you.
Write to us at thoroughlykinky@gmail.com.
You can follow us on social media too.
You'll find all the links in the description. So that's all from us.
See you next time on
Thoroughly Kinky.